Hi everyone, welcome to the road trip. Today we've got a special car to look at, a 1957 Desoto Convertible. This is a really rare car, a very pretty car. And we have the owner Steve with us, who's going to show
How
us
you
the
doing?
car. Thank you, Steve, for showing us your car.
My pleasure.
How many years have you had it?
I've had this car about 3 years.
3 years? Do you know the history of it, the backstory on it?
Yes, I do know that 2 times over the years this car sold at major auctions, including Barrett Jackson and Mecum. It was part of the John Staluppi collection at one
Ah,
time. It was also owned by Richard Carpenter from the singing group The Carpenters, as he's a big Mopar collector.
yeah.
And I found the car at a dealer in Florida had the car, and I purchased it from him.
Wow. Were you always looking for one or did you just fall in love with it when you saw it?
I saw pictures of these cars over the years and always knew that I wanted to own one. Um, I did a lot of research. I learned that the 57 Adventure convertible was the first year that they made that model in a convertible form. At the beginning of the year, it wasn't even in the catalog because it was a mid-year introduction, and they only made 300 of them. You could get them in only 3 colors: black, white, or gold. The interiors are all the same. Of those 300 that were made, there are 26 left known in the world, 17 in this country, and 9 overseas. So I had been looking for one, and I found this car, but it was right after the auction had been completed. So it took a number of years before it resurfaced, and once I found it, I locked in on it and bought
Yeah.
it.
That's funny. Some people, they kind of stumble across cars they have to have. They don't realize they have to have it until they find it and see it.
Been there and done that.
Yeah, but some people actually go hunting down certain types of cars.
Yeah.
And this being as special as it is, I'm sure there are a lot of people that would love to get a hold of a DeSoto convertible.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the inside real quick.
Sure.
We'll start there. This pattern, or I should say the material on these seats, am I looking at it like a gold thread in there?
Yes. As I said, every one of these had the exact same interior. There were no color options, right down to the carpeting with the gold fleck in it. I believe the one option that was available was a clock that you could get ordered that fit into the center of the steering wheel.
Okay.
So that if you did order that option, you really had 2 clocks on the interior, the factory one that was built into the dash and the additional one. But this car does not have that
And that's the factory
option.
clock on the far right
Yes,
there?
it is.
AM radio?
AM radio.
Is that just the heating system down bottom?
Yes.
Ashtray on the left?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Everybody smoked back then, right?
everybody did.
Okay.
I have to get used when I'm driving it. I have a tendency to look up at the top of the windshield for the rear view mirror and have to remember it's on the dash.
Look how cool the knobs are. They're like an X pattern.
Yes.
Very cool. It says Adventurer right there in the middle of the dash.
And then, of course, you have the push button transmission, or as we always affectionately called it, typewriter drive.
Yeah. How's that work for you?
It works. I have to remember that this car does not have a park. So, you start it in neutral. I always make sure when I shut it off that the emergency brake is on and that it's in one of the gears. But you have to remember to put it in neutral before you start it, because if you start it in gear, reverse or drive, it will lurch forward or backwards.
Oh, will it?
Yes.
That's the handle for the parking brake?
Yep, that's the emergency brake.
And that's the brake up there in that little pedal?
Yes.
Oh, it's pretty small for the emergency brake.
Yeah, it is.
But this carpet reminds me of the 59 Bonnevilles.
Yes,
with the,
those are
speckle in it.
beautiful. Those are beautiful cars as well. But whoever restored this car was able to get some of the correct carpeting, and this is how I found it.
Power windows.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice door panel. Looks like it's in great shape.
Yeah, they did a great job restoring it.
This it's not stainless. I guess it's some sort of foil, maybe.
I've wondered that myself. I've looked at it. I'm not really sure what that is, quite frankly.
Power seat.
Mm-hmm.
Look how the switch is designed. It
Yes.
just looks so futuristic. It's not just a switch or a button. There's some thought behind that.
Yeah, it was definitely part of the Chrysler forward look back then.
Can we look under the hood?
Sure.
Walk around this way. Look at these emblems on the top of the fender here. Very cool.
So
what are we looking at?
So it's a 345 cubic inch early Hemi motor. I can tell you that this was the first production car that was manufactured where you had 1 horsepower per cubic inch. So it's 345 horsepower, 345 cubic inches, 2 4 barrels. Everything that you see here is exactly as it would have come from the factory.
2 4 barrels. Now, was that on all adventurers, or was that a step up?
Yeah, basically that was on the Adventures. This was, again, their top of the line model, so they all came this way.
Wow. Beautifully detailed.
Yeah, it's not the most economical car, but I guess if you own one of these, that was not a concern.
Exactly. Check out the battery. It says Mopar. Is that, I guess that's a reproduction of what would have been in here?
Yeah, that is an exact reproduction of what would have come with the car. When I bought the car, it had what I would call a store type battery.
Yeah.
And I reached out to one of the companies that manufactures the vintage batteries and purchased that.
Very nice touch. Something, a car that's done this nice, you want to make even the little things right. Now, what is that bag over there? Is that for
That's the windshield washer fluid bag.
Okay.
That is how they did it back then. There was a bag on the fender, and you put your fluid in there. And
yeah, they seem like they would leak easily.
Yes, which is why that bag is empty.
Did you empty it, or did it empty on its own?
It came empty, so I wasn't going to put anything in there.
Okay, I don't blame you. It looks nice. It looks correct. I mean, the script looks nice. The fonts, everything looks right. Looks beautiful. It's beautifully detailed.
Well, like I said, I can't take credit for the restoration. This is how I bought it. My job is to maintain it now.
Did you say how much horsepower it makes?
345.
345.
Yes.
Wow. Very nice. Well, let me walk around here. We'll look at these wheels. Are these Kelsey Hayes?
Yes, the car came with the factory wheel covers were actually gold, but you could get these wheels as an option. And I've been looking for a set of the wheel covers just to have them to go with the car, and it's proving difficult to find. I found a few sets, but they are so beat up that the restoration process would not be prudent. So I'm still looking for a set just so I can keep it and maintain it in the trunk and just have it as part of the car and the history.
I like this emblem you have here on the fender. Is that looks like a soldier or something?
Yep,
Not sure what that is.
Yep, that was what they put on the car back when they did those type of things.
And this trim would have been on every adventurer?
Yes. So if you had a gold colored car, you would have had different colored trim. Same thing if it was white. If it was white, you had the gold trim. Gold car, I believe it had white trim.
Really? So
yes.
The colors would have been different?
Yes.
How about that?
So they all came with the same trim on the side, and it was the two-tone. But again, the cars were only available in black, white, or gold.
I love this this whole look here, adventurer. Look at the font on that, and the emblem with looks like a flag.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like almost a arrow, like a forward futuristic look to it.
Part of their forward look.
You've got these nice bars on the back.
And that was a standard featured on the car.
Desoto. Is all the trim in the gold?
Yes.
Anodized?
Mm-hmm.
Can we look at the trunk?
Sure.
Wow. This is big. A lot of room in here.
This is a great driving car.
And
sneak your friends in.
There goes Richard Carpenter.
Yeah.
Previous owner.
Yes, it was.
How about that?
Unfortunately, as I did some research, the address on the title is where he and his sister Karen were living at the time she passed away. But this came with the car as part of the package.
It's good to keep the history.
Absolutely.
You got the jack instructions. The decal looks in great shape.
Mm-hmm.
These cardboard panels, I know they have to be replacement panels.
I'm sure they would be.
Everything looks too perfect in here.
Yeah, the chance of those panels being the original ones from 1957 are pretty remote.
Yeah.
I believe what you're looking at up inside the trunk is original, but not the panels.
Yeah, well, it looks in great shape for as old as the car is. These are bias ply tires.
Yes.
BF Goodrich, Silvertown, says on there. And they all came with this cover?
Yes. That cover is part of how the car came.
That's just how it's mounted. I guess that
Yes.
goes all the way to the trunk. And
the trunk, and the floor of the trunk, and that is what secures it in place so it doesn't rattle around.
Now you've got twin antennas in the back, one on the right, one on the left.
Mm-hmm.
One of these is a faux antenna.
Yes. So you'll see that this one on the passenger side is the real one, as you have the wire running to the antenna. The other side is just to give it the balance look.
This one is what makes you so cool on the road. This is part of the cool factor.
That's part of the cool factor.
And I love the taillights.
Yeah, that was a hallmark for DeSoto. That, you look at that, it's a DeSoto.
Yeah. Love the taillights. They're kind of wacky looking, but it just goes with the rest of the car.
Yep, that was the look back in the late 50s.
This chrome around the outside, and the lights protrude out of that. Very, very, very neat. And this is where the exhaust is, correct?
Yes.
Now I see this has a protective coating in there.
Yeah, that is to help prevent oxidation on the chrome.
It's interesting. Out, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting because other cars that I have where you have that same system or the exhaust exits through there, I'm constantly cleaning that. On here, I hardly have to do it, and it's
that is
part
coating.
Part of is the coating.
You don't even notice it. You have to wonder, why didn't the manufacturers do that? From the beginning.
That's a good question.
It's just a few pennies, but
yep.
Well, I love the car. What are your plans with it?
To continue to enjoy it for as long as I can.
Yeah, show it off.
Yeah, this is one that, when people ask me, what are some of your favorite cars that you own, this is right up near the top.
I can see why. It's a big car. It's deceivingly big.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was big back then. There were really no economy cars.
Try to imagine if you were a kid back then and this was a car you took your driver's test in, you had your hands full.
Yeah. You did. How are the brakes? Is it drum all around?
Yes. Fortunately, they still work very nicely, but I'm just trying to be always very careful when I'm driving it. So I haven't been in a situation where I have a panic stop, but car handles very well, it drives very well.
It's tough to take this car out in modern traffic. I mean, people just drive quicker, they're closer. They don't realize you don't stop as quick, you don't handle as quick. And there's a reason why you're giving yourself so much room. Yeah,
you have to think about that when you're driving, because I'm comfortable driving the car, but you're always worried about what everybody else is doing, because there are some people that are just oblivious to the type of car it is.
Yeah.
And, you're right. It's something where you have to be paying attention all the time.
I noticed the bottom portion of that grille is gold anodized as well.
Yes.
Very nice touch. Almost don't see it when you're standing back.
Exactly. You have to get down to that level, but that is a part of the standard package on the car.
Well, I love the car.
Thank you.
Definitely love the car. I know you guys at home love it too. So leave your comments below. Tell us what you think of this car. 1957 Adventurer Convertible. Thank you, Steve, for showing us your car.
My pleasure.
Like I said, leave your comments below. Definitely subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.